Motherhood definitely doesn't equate womanhood. There's
No.
so much more to being a woman than being a mother. I was 15 years old when I was diagnosed, and I never had a natural period. So,
Wow.
yeah. I'd even wear period products because I wanted to fit in that badly.
Had you been running away, do you think, up until that time when you sat down and stopped during COVID?
Started talking to this IVF specialist, and he was like, you don't need to worry about this. All you need to do is get a boyfriend and then come back when you've saved a bit of money.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God.
I definitely felt like I'd failed as a woman when I got my diagnosis, because I just thought, God, that part of me that everyone has told me makes me a woman and makes me female doesn't work properly, or doesn't work in the way that it should, and that definitely broke my heart.
At the time, you don't draw the dots yourself that you're going through menopause-like symptoms at 15.
What is it doing to you as a person, as a 14, 15-year-old? Sheree, thank you so much for coming on. It's so lovely to have you here. You are a first for us, because we're talking about a condition today that we've never talked about on the podcast before. And I've got to be honest, I didn't know about it. I feel very uneducated and ignorant when it comes to this. So I really want to dive into the condition itself first. So you live with premature ovarian insufficiency, or POI for short. What is that?
So this is a condition that it's basically when your ovaries stop functioning normally before the age of 40. So it's very similar and can be confused with menopause.
Yeah.
So that's obviously when your ovarian function starts declining when you're average age, which is around 52.
Mm-hmm.
But under the age of 40, it's called premature ovarian insufficiency.
Okay.
This basically means that your body stops producing estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone.
Okay.
Which can have a massive impact on your body, especially since estrogen and progesterone and testosterone are like the batteries to a woman. So all over your body you have estrogen receptors, and it basically has a huge impact on a lot of different things when that declines. For me, that happened a lot younger. 1 in 20,000 women go through it as a teenager.
Wow.
So it's a bit more common than you think, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was 15 years old when I was diagnosed, and I never had a natural period. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, so let's go, like I say, back to the beginning.
Yeah.
You're 15. Everyone around you is going through puberty and is experiencing those changes when it comes to breasts and hip and waist ratio and maybe some hair growth and various different things.
Yeah.
What's happening for you?
So when I was at school, obviously everyone would talk about getting their first bras and getting sanitary products and, starting their periods and all of these things that teenagers, especially teenage girls, like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't really join in any of the conversations, but I definitely pretended because I was like trying to fit in like every teenager does, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I never had any signs of puberty like at all. So
Wow.
there was like hair growth, so like armpit hair, pubic hair, but that comes from more of the testosterone side of things. And we don't just produce testosterone in the ovaries, we produce it in the adrenal gland as well. So that's why you can still have those sorts of signs. But apart from that, there was nothing really signifying me going through puberty. So no spotting, no periods, not breast development, all of those sorts of things. So I was definitely worried. But there was a lot of other things happening in my life at that time, which now in hindsight I know were related to my condition. But at the time, you don't draw the dots yourself that you're going through menopause-like symptoms at 15.
What was happening to you?
Hot flushes, cold flushes, night sweats, like I'd wake up in the middle of the night completely drenched in sweat. It's like
Oh my
so
God.
unglamorous, but yeah, it was. I thought I was just ill. Like I thought I'd just always have colds, like under the weather.
Yeah.
I'd get loads of headaches. I wouldn't be able to concentrate in class. You know, I'd forget where my classrooms were when, you know, I had the same classrooms the whole year round, but
Oh my God.
I'd be like, oh, what's this part of my timetable? I'd put my hand up in class and forget why it's even up there. Yeah, so I'd have, you know, that now I know that was brain fog.
Yeah.
But I just thought that something wasn't right, but I didn't know what it was. So I went in and out of the doctors from probably the age of like 11.
Did you initiate that, or did your parents initiate it?
Yeah, I went to my mum like really worried about all the things that was happening, you know, like my headaches. I'd always be complaining that I was poorly. And then I started getting really bad back pain, joint pain. So, you know, I fractured a few bones.
Oh my word.
Yeah, so with POI or premature ovarian insufficiency, if you aren't on hormone replacement therapy, it can have really long-term effects. So,
Wow.
like osteoporosis, early onset dementia, you know, heart problems like heart disease, and increased early mortality rate, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, that is really scary. At 11, obviously
Yeah.
didn't know that information at
I
11
didn't
years
know.
old, but to have all these almost red flags and like warning signs from your
Yeah.
body's own system, because to be 11 and be fracturing bones.
Yeah, I was about 12 when that started happening, and then like just from small accidents, like not even really from anything, and then I'd be always complaining about my back. So I had like MRIs and X-rays and stuff like that. And they just put it down to me growing taller and, you know, growing up, trying to put it down to puberty, ironically.
That is ironic, considering you weren't going through the classic puberty signs, which is one of the reasons you were going to the doctors. They still put it down to puberty.
Yeah, it was confusing because I speak to a lot of women with POI and people, especially when they are teenagers, when they've been diagnosed with it. It is really confusing because people say that menopause is kind of like the reverse puberty. So it's like, you know, you start getting all these symptoms again, like, you know, your skin can start acting up and you can get like hot and bothered, sweaty, moody. You know, all these symptoms are very similar to puberty, like being a moody teenager and all of that sort of thing. So you can get them confused. The number one sign, though, is the periods either starting and then stopping, or absent periods completely, or like really random periods and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I obviously never started menstruating, and that's when I started really worrying. So, I was around 14-ish when I started then going to the doctors for that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So previous to that, it was like the headaches and the back pain and stuff. But then after that, it was all to do with periods.
And how do those conversations go? Because like you say, a lot of very confusing symptoms, a lot of symptoms that indicate something and then kind of contradict themselves. What was the conversation between you and the doctor like?
At the beginning, it was swept off, like, you know, you don't need to worry about this, you're still quite young, because I was like 14 and, you know, some people are late bloomers. So it was something that they said that I didn't really need to worry about yet. So I was like, okay, well, the doctor's told me that that's okay, so I'm going to go home and just wait till my next birthday and see if it comes.
Yeah, I can relax a little bit because they've told me that there's nothing to kind of panic about.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there were no tests being done. It was just someone just saying, oh, don't worry about it. So I didn't, because you trust the doctors, don't you?
Of course.
Yeah, you don't question them. So went away, waited a few more months, and it almost felt like every time my friends would have a period, I'd be like, okay, maybe I should be having a period now. And then again the next month, it's like a reminder of like when your friends would talk about it, you'd be like, oh yeah, I would be like, yeah, I'm on my period as well, and I'd even wear period products because I wanted to like fit in that badly.
Yeah.
And I obviously didn't need to, and it's a complete waste of money. But yeah, it was something that I really struggled with.
So tell me about you at 14, 15 years old, obviously struggling massively because you're looking at your peers thinking they're going through this very normal process and you haven't yet. Understandably kind of saying that you're doing it as well and obviously wearing different things, which I can completely understand. What is it doing to you as a person, as a 14, 15-year-old?
Honestly, it was kind of like a bit of an identity crisis. I mean,
Okay.
all teenagers, that I've ever spoken to, or even my younger sister, stuff like that, everyone goes through these slight identity crises where you're trying to figure yourself out, and it feels like the whole world is new in your teenage years, and everyone's talking about loads of different things. So it's confusing for everyone, but especially around the time of my diagnosis, it was getting more increasingly known to me that, I wasn't normal. And that was really hard to deal with. And then when it was confirmed by the doctors, I was told quite abruptly that, in a very blunt manner, that I'm really sorry, Sheree, you're infertile. You're going through something called premature ovarian failure, which is what it was called at the time. So obviously those words like infertile, failure, send you into a spiral.
Oh my God, yeah.
Especially, a few months before my GCSE exams. And yeah, I had like a science class. Like I went back to school that day. And I remember so vividly, you remember these little moments, don't you?
They just stand out to you, certain things.
Yeah. And I went back that day because I didn't want to stay out of school because I was like, I don't want anyone to think where I am. So I went back to school and I had science in the afternoon, and we were revising for the cheeky little 1 markers in my GCSE exams. And one of the questions was, what is a species? And the answer was an organism that can reproduce. And so I was like, okay, I'm already struggling because I don't have any breast development. I'm not having my period. I don't feel like I'm coming into being a woman, like all my, girlfriends are all talking about. I don't have these feelings of sexual desire towards like people in like my class, and don't have these similar experiences to my peers. And then I'm being told that it's not only that I don't feel like a woman, it's like I'm not even a species. Like I'm an alien.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a big crisis.
Understandably.
So yeah, it was very difficult at the time.
It just sounds heartbreaking. Like I can really, the way you describe it, visualize that moment of you just looking at that textbook and thinking, oh my God, you've had this earth-shattering news. And yeah, that's a huge amount for anyone to take in, let alone a teenager.
Yeah.
So how were you actually diagnosed? Is it a complex way to get a diagnosis, or?
No, actually, funnily enough, even though I went to the doctors a lot of times, it is kind of like a simple blood test. So you can to have your hormone profile done. So they will test your estrogen levels. They'll test your FSH levels, which is the follicle stimuli hormone. This is basically a hormone that your brain sends to your reproductive system to get it start working.
Yeah.
My hormones came back with really low estrogen levels and really high FSH levels. This means that your brain's trying to send a signal to your reproductive system to work, and because there's no estrogen or eggs, they're sending messages back saying, well, we're not working, and then they'll try and send more of that message to try and send more of that FSH to try and get something going.
Yeah.
And it's not responding because there's no estrogen.
Okay.
So that's how, it's kind of similar to women with menopause. So
Yes.
menopausal women will have high FSH levels and low estrogen levels.
Yeah.
And then I had an ultrasound scan to confirm my prognosis, because it was, you want to see if there's much left.
In terms of like follicles in the ovaries.
Yeah, exactly. And we asked about egg freezing, and it was too far gone for me. But some women with POI can catch it at a good time and have some egg freezing done, which is incredible. But also some women, they catch it when it's a bit too late. And also some women maybe in their 30s or late 20s, if they start seeing these signs and are diagnosed with POI, there is a 5 to 10% chance of spontaneous conception.
Okay.
So if you don't want a child, it's important to take contraceptives, because it's still a chance. But for me, unfortunately, that's not a chance.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
That was part of almost the information package that you were given at 15 when they gave you that diagnosis.
I didn't know any of that.
You didn't know any of that?
No.
Oh my goodness. When did you find out?
When I did my own research, and the information that I was given was, so I went to the GP. My mum demanded blood tests, because she was like, we're not leaving this doctor's office until something is said and something is done.
So it wasn't even initiated by the GP after all of these visits since you're about 11 years old to even find out?
No one connected the dots. My mum was like, look, we're worried, Sheree's worried, even if this just puts our mind at ease, do something. So that's when they did like the whole hormone blood test profiling. That's when my results came back, and they were like, I just got a letter through the front door to say that I was being sent to gynecology in Manchester. And I was like, oh, what's all this? And me and my mum would talk about it, like, oh, maybe there's just something going on. I don't know. We had no idea. We literally had no idea about any of it. And then turn up to Manchester, brought into this appointment, and literally one of the first things he said was, you're infertile and you've got something called premature ovarian failure. And then I kind of just like went a bit fuzzy and was like, didn't really absorb any other information. And
understandably.
And then got given a leaflet that said, what is menopause on the front, and 2 white, old, middle class ladies on the front of this leaflet. And obviously I didn't want to read it. I was in denial, and also that doesn't represent me. Like, I was a 15-year-old.
And what is menopause isn't even the correct title, because you're not going through menopause.
Exactly, yeah. So there was not really any accurate information, and the leaflet that I got given I didn't want to read. It wasn't great. So I just took what the doctors give me. So I just had a little green slip with my prescription on. Just took what they said and just ignored it, because they said to me, you don't need to think about this until you want children. So I was like, okay, I'll just take what's on this green slip and get on with my life.
What was on the green slip?
Hormone replacement therapy.
So they gave you HRT. Did they tell you anything about what they were giving you?
Not really, no.
Oh,
they asked me if I wanted patches or tablets. And I didn't want a patch because it was visible, and I wanted to keep it a secret. And all my friends around that age, 16, 15, started taking the pill. So I was like, oh, if I take it, it looks similar.
Yeah.
I could just tell them it's a different brand of pill. So I started doing that. And then didn't know what the implications were, didn't know what side effects they were, didn't know how it would help me, didn't really know what I was looking for. And then at 17, I had my first withdrawal bleed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was because my womb was then starting to work, but because of the estrogen replacement. But it's called a withdrawal bleed instead of a period because there's no egg inside.
Yeah, there's not been an ovulation,
Yeah.
which is then the breaking down of it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to imagine how I could wrap my head around how that might feel. And I can't even begin to imagine because you've been told you don't have periods, you're not ovulating, and everything that implicates for fertility. But now your body's going, oh, I'm going to give you a period. I'm going to give you what looks like a normal bleed.
Do you know what? It felt great.
Okay.
Because I was like, oh my God, I feel normal. Because all my friends have, and I started getting cramps. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. Which is so strange because no one wants cramps.
Well, it isn't though, right?
Yeah.
Because you had been denied so many experiences and things that you have every right to have.
It felt like I was more normal. So me and Mum had a little period party. Because it was just me and my mum and a few family members that knew at the time.
Okay.
So it was good to have a period. Well, what I thought was a period. But confusing. And then I got put on the pill.
Oh, so how long were you on HRT for?
So I was on estrogen replacement for 2 years.
Okay.
Introducing progesterone.
Yeah.
When the cycles came in.
Okay.
But it obviously wasn't a cycle because I don't have cycles. It's like a medically induced cycle.
Okay.
So that's why they put me on the pill.
Right.
To then have the break, But then every month that I'd have a break, I wouldn't be absorbing any estrogen because my body doesn't produce it.
Of course. Right.
So
okay.
12 weeks a year, I'd be without estrogen. No.
I'm going to take your word for it because my math is terrible.
Months. So yeah, every month, obviously, I'd bleed, and every month it'd be a week. So yeah, 12 weeks a year, I wouldn't have estrogen. So then I started taking back-to-back sheets of pills.
Okay.
And then my period stopped. And then COVID happened.
Okay.
And during COVID, obviously, I couldn't see any doctors. But then I started my own research in COVID.
Okay.
Because the world stopped for everyone. I was at university at the time. My exams were all cancelled. Everything was stopped. So I actually had time to think and process and really understand my diagnosis. It was probably the hardest time because I actually sat down with my own thoughts and feelings about everything.
Had you been running away, do you think, up until that time when you sat down and stopped during COVID?
I think I wasn't actively going away from it. I think I was more like, it just was, bye.
Yeah. In a neat, tidy corner somewhere of your mind.
Yeah, because the doctor said I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, which is I find so annoying because it doesn't just impact your fertility. It impacts everything. Sleep, eyesight, getting dry eyes. It can increase gum disease, osteoporosis. I didn't have a DEXA scan, which is a bone density scan, for 4 years, I think.
Word.
And that should be a part of your diagnosis. Well, not diagnosis, sorry, but immediate treatment and figuring out the picture of your health.
Of course, because like you say, estrogen is a lack of estrogen is massively linked to osteoporosis, and they've just told you that you are not producing it. So of course it needs to be a key part of that.
And also that I haven't really been producing it for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because never had a period.
Yeah.
My ovaries, one of my ovaries wasn't even there. The other ovary was so minuscule that they could hardly see it on the scan.
Oh, wow.
So they estimated that I hadn't had estrogen for a very long time.
We're taking a quick break to say thank you to today's sponsor, BU Period. When it comes to women's health, I'm obsessed with all things holistic and natural. My go-to product is BU's pain relief patches. The combination of menthol and eucalyptus is pure bliss when an endo flare hits. Whether it's pelvic pain, back pain, leg pain, or anything else, they give me the instant and long-lasting relief I need. And you can even set up your own subscription so that you never run out of natural pain relief. If you want to get your hands on BU's patches, you can find the link in the show notes. And make sure you use the code INJAP10 to get your exclusive listener discount. Now let's get back to the girl chat. So you've had lots of different treatments, you know, everything from estrogen replacement to pills to all sorts of different things. And you mentioned side effects earlier on. Did you suffer with side effects, and what were they?
It's really hard to know.
Okay.
Because I've never had a normal.
Yes. Okay.
So I don't have a baseline to measure what is just me. Am I just forgetful? Or is it brain fog? Or is it a side effect of HRT? Am I having a headache because I haven't drank enough today? Am I having a headache because of, you know, my symptoms of POI? Or am I having a headache because my HRT? Don't know.
Oh, it's like the worst puzzle of like.
So you just have to stay hydrated.
Yeah. Yeah, simple answer. It feels like it's a Rubik's Cube that's fighting back whilst you're trying to solve it.
Yeah, it's difficult balance, 100%. But yeah, there's loads of different things that it plays into as well, like not just your health, but within society, you know, like sex drive, for example. You have a very low arousal or, you know, sex drive. It can have a massive impact on your libido.
Yeah.
And as a teenager, and then obviously in your late teens, early 20s, whatever, that can be a massive impact on your confidence, on your body image, you know, not feeling sexy or, you know, all of that sort of side of things, relationships, figuring out your sexuality, like all of these things that you go through in your younger years, you know, experimenting with things and seeing what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy. I didn't really understand any of that, or when people would talk about it, I'd be like, well, it is what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Because like you say, you didn't have that quotation normal baseline that others were having to compare and figure out who they were and what they wanted and all those kinds of things. So during that time when you got a diagnosis, obviously went to university, obviously then COVID means that no one did anything during COVID, but all those years, was that difficult for you, relationships and that side of things?
I had very good friendships and, you know, you go on dates and things like that. And by that time, you know, my HRT was starting to get sorted out when I went back to uni after COVID.
Okay.
Because obviously I'd started the research, I'd figured out what I want to try next, went on to patches. It was way easier and so much better for the absorption rates for myself. Everyone's different. So patches worked amazingly for me. And then I was taking progesterone as well, on a bit of a different HRT regime now. So yeah, it was great. And then I met my fiancé.
Oh, congratulations.
At the end of university.
Okay.
But yeah, when I was a teenager and, you know, a bit later, it was difficult because, you know, you're trying to figure everything out anyway. So yeah, so I'm with a woman as well. So that was really difficult because obviously you've got societal noise of, you know, heteronormative language and, you know, have you got a boyfriend? Are you going out on dates with guys? All these things. And then obviously not knowing yourself and not feeling that sexual attraction to anyone really, because I didn't really feel it
Yeah.
anyway. And then obviously when your HRT starts working, and I felt more of a romantic and sexual connection to women, I was like, hold on a minute, what's going on here?
Another curveball.
Yeah.
Hold on. Didn't plan for this.
Exactly. But yeah, and then met my amazing partner, and she's super understanding. And yeah, the rest is history.
Amazing. I mean, so many layers of things that you've had to,
Yeah.
the bridges you've had to cross, and trials and tribulations. And like you say, you mentioned identity earlier on, and identity definitely feels like it's a word that needs to be in bold when we think about everything that you've been through, because there's so many things that you had to figure out about yourself that you didn't ask for and weren't planned, and you probably would have done without, realistically.
Might have been easier.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But also, like, with the whole identity thing, you know, womanhood is massively tied to motherhood.
Absolutely it is, yeah.
And periods are massively tied to womanhood. It can massively put a spin on things when you're told you're infertile and you don't have periods. But yeah, it definitely doesn't. Motherhood definitely doesn't equate womanhood. There's so much more to being a woman than being a mother, or menstruating, where, it's not just a period.
Well, exactly. It's not just a period. But no, I can, in a very different way, I can completely relate to that, because obviously with stage 4 endometriosis, I know how much my chances are diminished immediately just because it's stage 4. Obviously, you never know until you try, and I'm not going to count my chickens before anything. So I very much believe and have hope. But of course, there's that part of your brain that goes, oh, am I not a proper woman? Because what if I can't do that? And I remember saying this before on the podcast, but I definitely felt like I'd failed as a woman when I got my diagnosis, because I just thought, God, that part of me that everyone has told me makes me a woman and makes me female doesn't work properly, or doesn't work in the way that it should. And that definitely broke my heart. So, yeah.
It's one of the key things that I like to talk about, because, what makes a woman, it's completely individual, I believe. And, it's just so difficult, because you're just told so many things within society. And like, even my doctors, they were, I was 17, I saw an IVF specialist.
Okay.
And it was like a part of, I don't know, slowly moving over to adult side of the hospital instead of paediatrician.
Okay, so moving into, like different kinds of treatment pathways and things. Yeah,
so started talking to this IVF specialist, and he was like, you don't need to worry about this. All you need to do is get a boyfriend and then come back when you've saved a bit of money.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's simple.
Yeah, it's easy peasy.
Easy. Just click your fingers. Yeah. Magic.
He even, made jokes like, oh, you can choose what sort of eggs you want, fresh or frozen. Yeah.
Like it was amusing or funny that you have this heartbreaking diagnosis. And also, like, let's just appreciate you're 17 years old and you have 18. To go to an IVF specialist. Like, no 17-year-old wants to be in that position.
No. Yeah, it was challenging, to say the least. Yeah.
In terms of attitudes and awareness, or very much lack of awareness, in doctors, specialists, the whole general healthcare system, when it comes to POI, what's your experience been like?
It's a lot better since moving to London.
Okay.
There's a POI clinic at UCLH, which is great. I never saw a specialist before moving to London, which was like 2 years ago.
Wow.
3 years ago, sorry. And I've obviously had this for 10 years. I've never had regular appointments. I've never spoken to the same person. It's always been different people. I have to retell my story all the time.
Oh, that must be exhausting.
Like where it all began, and I'm just like, God. but yeah, ever since moving to London, it has been better. There's not many specialists out there. There's, a gynecologist and endocrinologist who have interests in POI, but not specialists. Dr. Vikram, I will butcher his last name, but I'm sure I'll find it and send it to you. You can put it in the description or something, but he's amazing.
Okay.
He's more of a menopause specialist, but like I said, there are, wires that do cross between menopause, early menopause, POI. So yeah, you can speak to menopause specialists as well. But yeah, there's not many out there.
No, and unsurprisingly, obviously great if you live in London, but not great obviously when you're in Manchester or any other place in the country. Yet again, it's like, oh, London's got all the specialists and London's got the money and the research, and London is where everything is. It's very similar for me in endometriosis specialists. The best specialists have always been in London, but that is just one part of a much bigger country that needs a lot of different specialists all over the place.
Exactly.
I don't know if you know, but in terms of research into POI, has there been much? Is there any kind of momentum to do more research into it?
There's a few studies now coming up. One in King's College London. They're talking about the cognitive side of POI, so studying brain fog, cognitive health in general, examining the risks of early dementia, with and without HRT, things like that, which is amazing. And we've not really had many up-to-date studies at all.
Yeah.
In my degree, I tailored both of my degrees around early menopause and POI.
Both of your degrees?
Yes.
That is impressive.
Thank you. So both of my dissertations were to do with POI, and so I can tell you that there's not a lot of research out there.
Yes.
And there's a POI study for the best HRT treatment. That's a longitudinal study, so we won't get results for a long time, but at least it's underway, and I think there's over 100 participants signed up so far. I'm not sure if you can continue to sign up. I think you can.
Okay.
Where they test whether the contraceptive pill is treatment enough or HRT. I personally am not involved in the study because I'm in a good HRT regime right now.
Yes.
And I don't really want to switch that up and then go through hell.
No, I think you've been through enough, haven't you? I think. Thank goodness if you do actually find a treatment plan that is effective and works for you, understandably after 10 years, you don't want to go messing with that.
No.
Not when you've maybe found some peace and quiet and kind of like normality.
Yeah, exactly. It's taken a while, but I think I'm getting there. Yeah.
And in terms of a cause, do they know why POI happens?
So there's lots of different causes. It can be autoimmune, so the body can attack its own organs and you can fall ill and do that. Cancer treatments, so radiotherapy in the pelvis area, that can make the ovaries decline or stop working. Obviously hysterectomies, surgical menopause, where they remove, like total hysterectomies, not just wombs. So the removal of the ovaries. There's also genetic issues and conditions such as like Turner's syndrome, Fragile X syndrome, things like that can cause POI. And also just checking family history to see if your mum or your grandparents or whatever have gone through menopause early or had like problems with their reproductive systems. That can be passed down as well. So lots of different causes. For me, it's idiopathic, which means that there's no known cause. It doesn't mean that there isn't one. It just means that there's no research.
Yes, basically they can't put their finger on it exactly as to
Yeah,
why
exactly. I've had all the tests. So I've had all the autoimmune tests and the genetic testing. I definitely don't have Turner's because I'm 6 foot tall.
Yes.
But yes, so I don't have any of those. And 85% of cases actually are idiopathic.
Really? 85%? That's a
Yeah.
huge number.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Okay, well, even more reason then that obviously we need far more research and investment into understanding what is happening to that 85% to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, lots more research needed, lots more funding. I mean, across the board of all women's health,
Yeah.
needs more funding, more research, more education, more awareness. Yeah, more political backing.
Yes, absolutely. It needs to actually be made a priority. People in the seats need to understand that it is a priority and make it matter to them. You've been very open about, understandably, the diagnosis as a whole, but specifically, obviously, the fertility elements of that, and the grief and the kind of the process of, I suppose, grieving a future that you imagined. Did you have any support with that? Did you go and speak to anyone?
Yeah. At the time, I saw a counsellor not many times, to be honest, because I was still in that like denial stage of like, oh, this is just something I don't have to worry about now, or, you know, I don't really want to talk about this weird thing that's happening to me.
Yes.
So I didn't really speak to anyone when I was first diagnosed. Later on, my mental health started to dive. And so I did reach out to, get some help with therapy and stuff like that. But I was given antidepressants as a 15-year-old when I was first diagnosed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they was like, you probably need these. And I was like, okay, I'll take them.
Did they give them to you at the same time as getting your diagnosis?
It was like a month or so later when I went back for a check-in, and they were like, how are you dealing with the diagnosis? And I was like, well, I'm pretty sad. I'm pretty sad about it. And
understandably.
yeah, but then they were like, here's some things that will help you with that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's probably one of the most upsetting things you've told me. There's a lot, obviously, that you've been through, but that really breaks my heart because, understandably, like you said at the time, you didn't want to talk about it and you weren't ready to maybe go on that acceptance journey. And I was older when I got diagnosed, but I was the exact same. It took me years of being like, no, don't want to deal with this. It's not real. It's not happening. But that's so normal. I don't think I've spoken to a single woman that has said,
just wants to dive in the deep end and dump all their traumas on someone.
Exactly. The immediate was like, yeah, do you know what? Let's tackle this head on. I'm so ready to talk about it after 1 week. Like it's not, your brain has to process.
Yeah.
So that really breaks my heart that their go-to procedure was this 15-year-old's had a life-changing diagnosis. They're sad 4 weeks after getting the diagnosis, aka very normal emotional reaction. I know what we'll do. We'll put them on antidepressants.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know, it just so doesn't sit right with me. It, like, physically makes my stomach turn.
I mean, it did help.
Okay.
It did help me. I kind of went a bit numb, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose that's what they do.
Yeah. But then, obviously, I've weaned myself off all of that stuff. And, with the help of counselling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also with speaking about it more. It feels so great to talk about now. I mean, I didn't tell a soul. And then, obviously, in COVID, when I did all my research, that's when I set up my advocacy page, Life of POI, and I literally set up the page, wrote a post, and then like tagged it on my personal Instagram, and then sent it off and threw my phone across the room. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I've just gone from like 4 people in my life knowing to everyone in my life knowing.
Incredibly brave to do that.
It was kind of like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I just want to, why am I so ashamed of it? Why am I so embarrassed? Why, like, this is, surely there are people out there who have this. I knew no one. And I was like, there must be. And I did my research, and four people in 100 people have POI. So I was like, come on, let's try and find these 4 people. Let's just try and find someone I can talk to about it. And I did.
Wow.
A big community of people with POI. And then working with the Menstrual Health Project, you know, speaking with people at Daisy Network, which is a POI charity. So many people. And it was therapy in itself.
Yeah. And it is such a cliche to say, and I kind of hate saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway because it is technically true, is that it is that old-fashioned thing of time. It sounds like, you know, like all of us, you just needed time. You were never 4 weeks after a diagnosis going to be okay with it or going to be happy or not probably going to feel incredibly sad and very much like your whole world's been destroyed. Like, of course you were going to feel like that. But like you say, you found your own way, didn't you? Obviously with support and help, which is really important, but you found your way to get into that point where you're like, yeah, fuck it. It sounds freeing almost.
Yeah, it was.
To put it out there.
It really was. I felt a massive sense of relief. Because also, you know, there's all these questions that you have, like, when I do find a partner, when will I tell them that I can't have children? When will I marry them and then tell them? No, that's a bit of a trap. Or do I tell them on the first date and they're like, whoa, I'm not thinking about kids? It's really difficult to, like, you know, start building a life and, you know, going into a career and thinking, you know, I've got this thing over me and I can't tell anyone, I can't ask for support, like reasonable adjustments because I have not told anyone. So it was definitely freeing to talk about it openly.
Definitely. I think maybe the most embarrassing dating story I have is when I told someone, you know, I don't know if you relate to this, but when you have been keeping it to yourself in a secret for so long and you get into that point where you can, like, I need to start maybe saying a few things or sharing a few little details, but it wasn't fully out in the open. And I remember just sitting on this date and thinking, having this overwhelming need to be like, oh my God, I'm lying or I'm being really deceitful. I need to just like tell this guy absolutely everything. And I literally told him my entire like trauma dump of endometriosis and adenomyosis. And I think this poor guy legged it, like literally legged it running.
Oh no.
But it's all those things that like we don't, unless you connect, like you say, with people that have those conditions, people don't get it, do they?
No.
That it's all those little or massive moments in your life where you're thinking, I don't know how to navigate this.
Yeah. No one knows about it.
No.
Like, obviously, we're both in, like, the community. So we're in, like, the women's health space all the time. So we're like, oh my God, loads of people know about this.
Yeah.
Loads of people know about endometriosis. Loads of people know about adenomyosis. Loads of people know about PCOS. Loads of people know about POI. Everyone's talking about menopause now. And then you go and talk to a randomer in a cafe and they're like, meh? I've never heard of that. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is why we talk about it.
In terms of the incredible page that you've got, obviously Life of POI, done so much awareness. You're working, as you say, with charities to do advocacy, which is amazing, and you're definitely making a huge difference.
Thank you.
What's it been like to connect with other women with POI, and have you learnt things from them? What's that been like?
Yeah, oh my gosh, you learn so much from other people going through, like, I didn't know what a DEXA scan was. So, like, you know, bone density scan, I had no idea what that was. I didn't know that you needed to get them done. As soon as I found that out from someone, got one done. And then found out that my bone density isn't very good. And, you know, helped me with, you know, upping my dosages of estrogen and then, you know, getting another one done 6 months later. And it was improved. I would never have had that information. Also, you know, in school, I massively suffered with vaginal atrophy.
Okay.
I had no idea what vaginal estrogen was, not a clue. I just thought that, I didn't even think it was related. I thought, this is something that is another issue that I've got to think about. You know, not wearing tight jeans and not sitting down for long periods of time without it being sore. And I was like, oh God.
And how intimate as well, right?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this to a doctor.
No.
Like, you know, people say it's your private parts. Keep it private. So I was like, oh my God, I can't talk to a doctor about this. All of a sudden, I see it online and I'm like, oh my God, I've been suffering with this for 7 years, never spoken about it because I thought it was completely random or weird. I thought I'd just like keep getting UTIs and all of these things. I just thought, oh God, I'm nervous to talk about this. And then as soon as I started local estrogen, and I would have never have known that information without the POI community, it's all gone.
Yeah.
It's all gone. Like, I have niggles every now and then, but it's amazing. I never would have known that.
Life-changing.
Yeah, literally life-changing.
But understandably, you were just kind of, for many years, just in your own little bubble, right? Because it's not talked about. The awareness. I mean, the fact that you had a leaflet about menopause when you were diagnosed, and that just sums it up, right? About the lack of awareness and the lack of understanding around this condition.
I had absolutely no idea. But now, thanks to everyone coming together and sharing information, you know, I share information, other people share information back to me. It's like swapping and changing information, and then we all get better for it. We all end up better for it. So, yeah, I would be completely different without the POI community, absolutely. And I've met some of my best friends through, you know, this POI community.
Yeah.
I first started talking to a girl online when I first did my Instagram, and when a year and a half ago, I did my own POI event, invited put it out to my social media, and over 30 people with POI came to the event.
Wow.
And it was so amazing to talk to all of them, and I met the girl who I've been talking to since for like 3 years online.
Oh,
and
wow.
we just hugged, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're real. And it was so nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I want to do another event, definitely, when I've got time to plan.
Yeah, it's finding the time, but I mean, it sounds like there's definitely a need for it and definitely people that benefit from it. In terms of change, improvements, advocacy, because you do a huge amount of work with all of that, what are your priorities for POY? What would you like to see kind of top of that list? I imagine there's a lot of things on the list, but top of that list, what does it look like?
More education in schools.
Okay.
Massively. If someone would have talked to me about anything, women's health, anything, periods, talk to me about, you know, not being able to get pregnant, or, you know, some schools talk about sex education like everyone can get pregnant, like it's the easiest thing in the world, and you all need to protect yourself from doing that. And then what happens if you get the information that you can't, and all of that sort of side of the education. So obviously probably tricky to figure that out, but more education in schools. We all need some GPs to know what POI is.
Absolutely.
A lot of the time I say that I've got this condition, and they say, what's that, can you tell me about that?
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I'll tell you about that. Or if I start to explain something to them, some people feel like I'm trying to be a know-it-all, and, you know, they feel maybe weird that I'm saying, no, that's wrong, it's this.
Wow.
Or they're going off menopause guidelines, and I'm part of the POI community. Because with natural age menopause, you need like lower amounts of estrogen, but as a 25-year-old that I am, I need higher amounts of estrogen, because when you're 25 in a natural body, you have higher amounts. And also I don't produce any on my own.
Yes.
So there's different licensing disagreements, and a lot of the time, well, just recently actually, they stopped giving me my HRT.
What?
Yeah, because they were like, we need you to do this review, and we need you to come in because it doesn't seem right, it's flagged up on our system. And then when I was talking to the guy, it got released, thankfully, and I was able to pick it up from the pharmacy. But he was like, you're on a really high dose, and you there's a lot of risks with this, and blah blah. And they were talking to me about blood clot risks, and I was like, well, I'm on transdermal patches, and there's no risk of blood clot. And they're like, I think there is, and I was like, there isn't. I've read the research.
Oh my word.
Yeah,
So some GPs really don't like being educated on a subject.
And pharmacists as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pharmacists. Like, I get so many weird looks because I'm picking up HRT and I don't look like a old lady or older lady. So yeah.
Speaking of education, the wonderful Gabs and Anna for Menstrual Health project that we're on recently, we were talking about the fact that actually there's additional training for diabetes, there's additional training for heart disease and all sorts of conditions in GP surgeries. Yeah. There should be a women's health specialist in every GP surgery, and it's ridiculous that there's not, but there's so many without it. And then, like you say, that women's health specialist, they need to be educated on POI as one of the conditions that they know about. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm working with Gabs and Anna, actually. We're doing some very exciting things. Can't say too much, but
amazing.
We've just got a little grant to do something in the POI space, which is going to be amazing, because there's not lots of stuff out there. So I'm really excited to get involved. It's going to be great.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, if anyone is going to do something amazing, I think the combination of you and Gabs and Anna is definitely a match made in heaven. So that sounds very, very exciting.
Thank you.
You've been fantastic. Genuinely, I feel so educated and so informed by you and by the conversation. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just for sharing your story and also just bringing a new condition to this podcast. Because you're right, It's Not Just a Period is exactly the place where we should be talking about this condition as well as all of the others that we talk about. I have a podcast tradition for you.
Yeah.
If you could imagine that I'm not sat here, not in this seat, but a younger Sheree is sat here with you, whatever age you can pick, if you could speak to her and say anything to her, what would you say?
What wouldn't I say?
It's a tough question sometimes.
Yeah, I would say that it's going to be okay.
Okay.
Your best tool is your mind and mouth. You can advocate for yourself, and you can learn as much as possible, and definitely believe in yourself. That's what I'd say.
Amazing. I love that. Mind and mouth are the best tools. Yeah. That's brilliant and so true as well. So true. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been lovely. Thank you for having me.
I loved our girl chat this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, then don't forget to hit the follow button wherever you're listening. To find out more about us or today's guest, then head to the show notes. Until next time, I'm Alexandra, and remember, it's not just a period.